Hey, you're listening to WSCA 106.1 FM, Portsmouth Community Radio. It is 12 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for Seacoast Business Connections radio show.
Well, let's just say we got Peter Egelston from the Portsmouth Brewery, Smuttynose Brewery, man around Portsmouth. Got a lot of projects going on. We're going to hear about that. But
welcome, Peter.
But yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm going to share all sorts of personal connections to Peter, some which I'm pretty sure he's aware of all of them, but certainly I've spent many of my formative early 20s years at the Portsmouth Brewery. And
imbibing.
We were at 208 Market Street when we first moved into Portsmouth as PixelMEDIA, and our big claim to fame was, well, we're about 200 yards from the brewery. That's basically how we were described.
That's how we got everybody to come.
That's how we got our
us.
employees to come work for us. That's how we got our clients to come up and visit us. So
what we had in Northampton was we were established in an already thriving restaurant and hospitality community, and in a downtown, a small urban environment. And that was very appealing to us, and we were hoping to find another location that offered those same features.
Yep.
And we looked all over creation, and we were pretty frustrated. And honestly, I think we were about to just give up and throw up our hands. And somebody suggested we check out Portsmouth, and we did. And
had you looked in New Hampshire up to that point, or
no?
You had been
I
focused
really
on
knew
Mass?
very little about New Hampshire.
Yeah.
One of the calls that I made, one of the first calls I made after we actually came and saw Portsmouth and spent a little time here, was to the New Hampshire State Liquor Commission, because I needed to figure out, again, what the legal climate was for brew pubs. And the fellow who answered the phone, who's someone I actually got to know reasonably well and just retired just this past year from his job at the commission, when I said that we were interested in opening a brew pub, he said, "Oh, that's so interesting. We were wondering when someone was going to come and ask about that." And he explained that the laws on the books did allow what we wanted to do without any kind of strange, acrobatics or backflips to make it happen. We, in 1993, in December of 1993, I went to a bankruptcy auction. And I went there to basically see who was going to end up purchasing the assets of the the most recent incarnation of the Frank Jones Brewing Company.
Yeah.
That was a little microbrewery that had started out as a contract brewery. Anyway, one thing led to another, and I went to the bankruptcy auction, and the shortened version of the story is that I impulsively bought a brewery that I wasn't really planning to.
So what is the timing for things down in Hampton? Timing to get everything, bottles rolling off the line? And
we've been running test batches through our new Brewhouse for probably about the last 3 or 4 weeks now, and we just fired up our centrifuge last week. And a centrifuge is what they call a mechanical separator. We don't filter our beers, we never have. But what the centrifuge allows us to do is to spin the beer out and clarify it to whatever level we want to without jamming it through a filter, which strips out a lot of the flavor components.
And you do that through a programmable centrifuge, huh? You pick out the amount you want to pull out?
Yeah, it's kind of neat, because what it does is it has a recirculation loops and turbidity meters. So, and this is sort of a funny thing too, because we were talking about the light beers that are bright and clear and you can see right through them. I happen to like beer you can see through. I think it's pretty. I really like the look of it. And it's changed so much. I remember when I was brewing, years ago at the brew-pub, you put a beer in front of someone at the bar and it was a little bit hazy, a little bit turbid, people would look at it askance and say, "Well, what's wrong with this beer?"
Yeah.
Well, now if you put a beer in front of somebody, it's nice and bright and clear, there's a certain percentage of people who say, "Well, what's wrong with that beer? I can see through it."
Right.
So you're never going to please everybody, but that's a sign of how much people's perception of beer has really evolved. So with a centrifuge, we can really dial it in. We can make our beer as clear or as hazy as we want, and we'll find that sweet spot. We'll have the fewest number of raised eyebrows, either because it's too hazy or too bright. And so we're getting the centrifuge up and running now, and the packaging equipment, we'll be getting that up and running within the next couple of weeks.
We've actually got to wrap it up.
Well, so Peter, basically, Joanne witnessed the birth of my daughter. So I don't know when this all happened, but if it was around 2008, maybe there was something going on. Joanne was doing her test to become a EMT.
She was looking to do a career change that she didn't end up doing when it was all said and done.
So anyway, I had to work that in, and I don't know, somehow you brought us back to it. So
yeah. Well, the funny thing is, just real quickly, she walked into that room and didn't realize that it was Rachel was going to be in there, and they saw each other and kind of shrieked in recognition.
Yes.
It's a very funny story.
So anyway,
a great story.
Peter, thank you for coming in. This was fantastic. Had a really good time.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Really appreciate it.
That was awesome.